Who in your life has the power to hurt you the most? It's the people who know you the most intimately, right? It's the people who know which buttons to press, which insecurities could be earth-shattering to you. It's the people who know you on the deepest level. Those are the people that can hurt you the most, right? So how do we make sure we're not hurting each other? Especially in those intimate relationships between spouses, between partners, between intimate partners. How can we make sure we're not hurting each other? Because sometimes we don't mean to, right? Sometimes we slip up, sometimes we accidentally say something or do something, or we react because of our own insecurity and we accidentally hurt someone, but we don't mean to. So this is something that my husband and I have used ever since we were married, and it has been so incredibly helpful for us. Now, in order to establish more emotional intimacy in a relationship, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to risk with each other. And that can be really frightening, right? Because you know that in risking, there is a chance that you will be hurt. But if you want to, and you're willing to, and that really is where you want to be going in a relationship of developing more emotional intimacy with each other, then risking is going to have to be a part of the equation. And the more you're willing to risk, and the more they're able to receive that, and that goes both ways, the deeper your emotional intimacy will become. So one of the things that we've done is sometimes you know you're about to risk. Sometimes it might be that you're about to share something really personal. Sometimes it might be that physically you're putting yourself out there. Sometimes it might be that you're telling them something that you're a little bit afraid of how they're going to react. Well, as the person on the other side, it's really nice to get a warning for that, right? Because you want to be able to show your partner, your spouse, how much you love them. You want them to feel safe with you. But sometimes if they just drop a bomb on you, you don't know it's a bomb that's being dropped. So sometimes it just explodes and you don't catch it. And make sure it doesn't explode because you just don't know. So here's what you can do. Let's say that you're the person who is taking that risk. You're the person who's going to share something personal. You're going to be putting yourself out there. You can say to the other person, I am risking with you. Or you can say, I am about to risk with you. Or you can say, can I risk with you? Is this a time and a place where I can risk with you? Now that is so helpful for two reasons. One is that as the person who is risking, it allows you to be in tune with the amount of risking you're honestly allowed, or you're honestly allowing yourself to take. You're being honest with yourself of how vulnerable you're willing to be. And like I said, the level at which you're willing to be vulnerable mutually will determine your level of emotional intimacy. Now, it's also really helpful for the person on the other side because just as I said before, they get a little bit of a red flag of like, hey, I need to be on my game because they're risking with me. And I promise you, they will be so excited that you tell them because we want to be there for each other. When you're in an emotionally intimate relationship and you're trying to deepen that emotional intimacy, you want to be there for each other. You want to be the safe space for the other person. So it's really helpful to give them that heads up of, hey, this is an important moment and you need to be here for it. Or to honestly ask them if it's a good time for it. When there's kids all around and things are really, really busy and the phone's going off and dinner's almost ready, probably not a great time to say, can I risk with you right now? You can try it. You can figure out your own dance in your relationship. But for the most part, that can be difficult. It can be a difficult time to drop something and expect the other person to catch it. Now, after someone does tell you that they're going to risk, or after you have told the other person you're going to risk, what then happens on the other side? What needs to happen on the other side? So there are two different ways it can go in the eyes of the person that's risking. That risk can be validated, or that risk can be rejected. Now, maybe there are other things that could happen, but as the person who's taking that risk, it seems and feels as if those are the only two ways it can go. It can be validated or it can be rejected. Now, as a person risks in a relationship and they experience rejection over and over, that can create lasting damage to a relationship, to the emotional intimacy of the relationship, and you can understand why that would be the case. But in a relationship where there is consistent validation, it is so beautiful. It's so beautiful because you're able to establish a deeper emotional intimacy with each other. So, how do you validate? How do you do that instead of rejecting? Some of that has to do with your individual relationship, and it's going to take communication. You're going to have conversations about this. You're going to have to talk about, when are you risking with me? Why is that a risk to you? How can I validate? Am I validating? Have I validated? When does it feel like rejection? This is a conversation for both of you to have, which again can greatly strengthen the emotional intimacy of your relationship. But in general, 2 rules: love and listening. Those are the 2 rules: love and listening. Whatever a person is risking, love them in that moment and show them that you love them through listening, not through immediately jumping in to fix it, not through judging whatever they're risking, not through laughing. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Just don't. Unless the other person wants to laugh too. But when someone is risking something with you and you treat it lightly or with humor or mocking, that absolutely feels like rejection and it's painful. So this is just a really helpful tool that you can use in your relationships, risking and validating, to be able to facilitate some communication with your partner, with your spouse, even with your child, with your mother, with your friend, any relationships that you're wanting to develop more emotional intimacy or perhaps heal some breaches in emotional intimacy. This can just be a really helpful language for that. So give it a go. Set some time aside, get rid of distractions, and have a conversation with this person that you're wanting to get closer with, of you risking, them risking, understanding that together, and then understanding and teaching each other how you can validate. Because let's be honest, we are all just teaching each other how to love, and we're all just practicing, trying to get better at it, and that is an amazing thing.